this is Julie from the Sewing Palace in Helena, Montana, and we are so excited because it's row by row time again, and it is going to be starting on June 21st, and the theme this year is so musical, and we're so excited to share with you. So they have done something different this year. This is our last year's design, and it's the classic, we call it, which is 9 inches by 36, and they've changed it up this year. They've given us some other sizes, and we've chosen to do an 18-inch block, which is going to be kind of fun, and you can do some different things like framing it, or playing with it in a quilt, or making a pillow maybe, I don't know. You get to choose what you want to do, but it's going to add some interest. So the So Musical has been a fun little play on words to play with. So our moose and our bears, they've come off the mountain and they've come into town, and we've paired it with our giant, which is an iconic landmark for Helena, which is kind of fun. So let me show you the block. We're very excited. So our giant is here still, and here are our animals. They're here under the, this is called Symphony under the giant, which we're very excited about. And there are 3-dimensional quilts on here, and lots of embellishing that you can do, and some quilting things that you could make this just so much fun on your own, whatever you'd like to do to it. We're so excited to share this. This is again in a laser cut kit. There are 62 pieces. Now, why wouldn't you want the kit? Unless you're crazy enough to take the time to draw it out and cut it all out and get started, and you can do that. But if it were me, I'd be buying the kit. So let me show you a little bit about construction. But first I want to tell you, the bottom half is the grass, the top half is your sky, and that is the block we created first to layer all of our pieces on, so that when you start to lay your block out, you have the base to start with, and that's your pieces you're going to start. So let me show you a little bit about that. So when you get your pattern or your kit, you're going to have a placement guide, which is going to be in there, so you can use that to get your block the way you want it. You could also take it to the printer, blow it up on 225%, and guess what? You'll have a perfect guide, and I'll show you that in a second. All your pieces are already reversed if you're crazy enough to draw it out, but they're there. And this is the piece that we took and blew up so that you could use it if you wanted to. So you can see that it's all ready to go, and that would, you could use that as a placement guide as well. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So to get started, we need to take the 2 pieces that are indicated. If you get the kit, they're cut to size. If you're doing your own thing, it'll tell you what size to cut. So we've sewn those 2 first pieces together. And if you've noticed, I've got it folded exactly in half. I'm just kind of finger pressing that half as a marking line for me, because I'm going to do some marking in order to get my piece laid on here exactly correct. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take some chalk, and I'm going to measure down 1 inch. And this chalk marker shows really well, so that makes it really easy. Oh, I guess I should take the top off, right? It makes it really easy. You can see that line. You see that there? Now, I'm going to go to the center line that I creased in place, and we're going to measure 9 1/4 and mark it so that I know where exactly I need to be. So here's 9 1/4. And then the same thing on this side. I'm just going to measure it on that fold, which might be a little difficult for you to see, but you get the idea. Now, since this ruler is 18 1/2, that makes it really easy. I'm going to just use those marks I've already made and line that up here and draw down the sides. The only reason I'm doing this is I want some kind of guide when I start to lay out my pieces that it's going to be in my 18-inch finished size. When my whole block size will be there. It'll actually be 18 1/2. There's my mark. It's a little harder to see. So we're just laying that up there and making those marks first. Okay, so some of the items you might find helpful if you're going to do this, obviously, is a Choco Liner marker and these K Buckley scissors. These are amazing for if you're going to be cutting anything out at all. They just allow you to get in there nice and easy, trim, sharp. They have a serrated edge on them, so nothing slips, so it makes it really great for cutting. So once you've got that done, if you've got the kit, there's little tabs you're going to snip, and that makes that nice and easy. But if you're crazy enough to draw them all out, you're going to start by drawing your piece out, and then you're going to peel the back layer off and place it onto your fabric, just like this. Make sure it's all on where you need it. Press it down pretty good, or you can hit it lightly with an iron. And then you're going to take your scissors, and I want to show you how great these work. So you're just going to kind of rock. Let me just get there. You're going to just kind of rock around that. Do you see how easy that makes if you're crazy enough to do all that cutting? So that's how that works. And we've already prepped some other pieces for you so we can get started. Now, remember I asked you to measure down an inch? That's for the placement of the giant on that piece. So he's one of your main base pieces. So we're going to just pull the backing off of him. There we go. And his chest, believe it or not, is going to line up with that line. And that's how you know you're going to have enough. The chalk will wipe off, and you get your piece lined up there with your edges. Can you see that? I cut a little bit extra just because, but your chest is lining up here. Now the rest of your pieces will fit perfectly. And that's just a nice way to know you've got your placement started the way you want it to on there. And you're going to continue to layer the rest of the pieces right on top of that as you go. Now, let me show you a little bit about how to start doing this. On your small pieces, like the beaks and things, I keep them on their main piece. I don't clip them out if they're in the kit until I'm ready to use them, because they're really easy to lose. And you don't want to have to go back and redraw or try to find that piece or make that work. So if you just go ahead and keep them in what you need until you're ready to use them, you're just less likely to lose them, and that is kind of a nice thing to not lose your piece. So now I've got all my pieces ready here, and I'm going to pull the backing off of them so that I can start layering. So I'm going to come back and get my placement guide. That's a nice way to do that if you've done that. So here is my mallard, and that's who I'm going to layer. And I'm going to take this Teflon pressing sheet, and I'm going to open it up. And I don't know if you can see it, but I think you can. Can you see how easy it is to see that? Now, if you're that person that's going to be like me that picks and picks until it's exactly right, this is a nice way to do this. So you're going to start by putting your pieces down. And I've got my head that's going to go first here. So I'm going to just put the head in place. And the nice part is that's going to stick a little bit, so I can just kind of tack it down there, move it as I need to till I get what I need in place. A little tuck in his head, see that? Then the next piece gets to go on, which is his body, and I can just put that there and line it up with where it needs to go. And just continue to layer every piece that you need on there. I have to put his French horn next because everything's kind of built right around that. So he's there, so his horn goes there and across his body and right over to here. And I can tack. Nice part is if I don't like the placement, I can always lift it up and replace it, and that's nice because you're not so committed to that you're like, oh, that wasn't right, but it can be so perfectly right. Get my hand over here, get him layered. Now I'm just doing this kind of fast so that you guys can see it, but I want you to know that this is amazing to get this done this easy, and then tap it. And if you need to, sometimes you get so much going on, you need to put a little heat to it with your iron. And I'm not, there we go. And put his feet down underneath. And I don't need a placement guide for that. Good thing, right? Probably should have him not standing crazy like. Just turn this a second. That's not too bad. Okay. And the last piece is going on. You can see how nicely this sticks together. There you go. There he is. Give it a little press like this. And you can also take it to your iron and just give it a little gentle press. Like, you don't want to press it too long. You don't want your, you do not want that to overheat and not stick again. Once you're done and you let this cool, so you want it to be cool, you can begin to peel all of this piece up in one piece so that you have your piece ready to put onto your background, which is, oops, I didn't heat his leg enough there, I guess. Legs aren't too important there, they're easy to place. So then he can go on your background exactly where you need to place him, and you're ready to go. That simple, that easy. So your instructions are all in there for you. And then once you're done with all your placement and get all your pieces that you're going to fuse down on there, I suggest that you steam it a little bit to set it and hold it nicely so it stays in place when you begin to do your quilting on there, or whatever you're going to do as far as stitching it down. So that is how you kind of start to construct this. The other thing that we have here available at the Sewing Palace is we have an embellishment kit, because we know you don't want to go find all the little glitzy pieces and all that stuff. So we have included in here, you've got the fabrics to create your quilts that are three-dimensional on there. You've got the thread for the strings on the cello. We've got Swarovski crystals for the eyes and the embellishments there. And we also have these laser cut music notes that you can sprinkle around onto your quilt or piece, your black block if you want. So there's some fun things. And again, Row by Row starts June 21st. This is Julie from the Sewing Palace in Helena, Montana. And join us for our fun new block, Symphony Under the Giant.